All right, so now that we've gotten our basic controls in place, what we want to do is we want to make this a little bit easier to use by guiding the animator in regards to how they are supposed to use this object, how they're supposed to grab it and manipulate it. So, what's our issue currently? Well, if you were to hand this to me, I would just grab this ball and I'd happily go off animating it. And I have no idea that's not what I'm supposed to do. So normally with a rig, we have some visual indicator of what you are going to control it with. So we usually use curves as controls. Now, we didn't do that in this situation because it's kind of our first look at the concept of rigging. And I feel that it's best to start with groups to kind of understand the base idea of hierarchies. When we use controls, we're just adding a visual aspect to the group. And we'll explore that later on. What we can do here, though, is we can do some basic scene management that allows us to lock down the object so it can't be selected by the animator easily, but we still want to give them the option to select it if they needed to, let's say to change materials or something of that sort. The way we're going to achieve this is going to be through using the display layers over here. Now, we need to decide what we want to lock, and the idea behind things that are locked is they're going to not be able to be selected in the viewport and not be able to be moved. So I could either select the group with squash, stretch, and scale, which might be a good idea because we don't really want that to be selectable either. Or I could select the ball, it just depends. Now, the nice thing is if I select squash, stretch, and scale, anything inside of that will also go to this layer. So if I added other geometry and wanted this rig to have more versatility, we could do that. So let's go ahead and select squash, stretch, and scale, and then we can create a display layer to drive this. The way we do this is over here. You have a few different options to create layers. It's these two. One has a little plus icon, which is going to be to create empty. And one has a ball, which is going to add selected. And that's going to be the one we want to do here. We want to add selected. And if we go ahead and click that, it will create our first display layer. Now, layers are very basic when it comes to display. The V button here is visibility. If we toggle that on and off, it's going to make it visible or not. So you can see visible, not visible. The P is playback. So when you press the animation button, it plays it. We're going to want to keep that on. And then the last category here is going to be our drawing mode. And by default, it's set to what we would call normal, which is what is selectable. If you click into that once, you're going to get a T, and a T stands for template, and a template is going to show you the wireframe. And if you press it once more, you're going to get to what we want, which is called a reference. And what that will do is it will make it so the geometry is not selectable. So we can no longer select that ball on accident. Now, a downside to this is we have to come over here to select this, but at least we can't select the ball on accident if our brain spaces out and we want to grab this. This is why there's usually going to be a visual component that is used for rigs. Like I mentioned, we don't have one at the moment, but at least we won't grab this on accident for our exercise. If you want to name this, you can double click this and you can come over here and name this. Go ahead and name this our geo underscore layer. And I just did that by double clicking on this. Don't worry about all that other stuff. But that will get that locked down so we can't grab it on accident. Now, if you also didn't want to edit these at all, you could lock it like we did our camera. You could highlight these, right click and lock. That way it can't be changed. And you'll see that the group can still change them. It just can't change itself. You could potentially do the same thing with squash and stretch and scale. We come in here and lock these. The only area you might need to concern yourself with is whether or not that set driven key still works, but you'll see it actually does. So that's another option we can do there. Okay, so that's going to give us some basics here to make it so we don't accidentally mess up our ball rig here, and we're just animating the correct dial. As a challenge, I want you to create a display layer to lock the geometry of the rig so it can't be selected in the viewport, so it is ready to use. So go ahead and try that out, and I'll see you in the next one.